Good evening. On behalf of the Board of the Kentucky Genealogical Society, let me welcome you to tonight's webinar, Unwrap the Treasures of Your Kentucky Heritage, 12 Tips for a Joyful December. The board will be taking questions at the end of our presentation. To do so, go to the top right-hand corner of the go-to screen, and you'll see what looks like a piece of paper with a paper clip on it. If you select it, a box will drop down and you will be able to write in a question. Our board member, Elizabeth Allen Pennybaker, will moderate those questions at the end of this presentation. I hope you've been watching our genealogy tip of the day for the past 11 days. Tonight is our final tip: understand the value of your Kentucky Genealogical Society membership. With us tonight, I'm Kathy Keyser. I'm one of your co-presidents. Susan Court, the other co-president. Terry Smith, our secretary. Susan Perney, our treasurer. Melissa Barker, Elizabeth Allen Pennybaker, Lynn Grow, Diane Isaacson, Jerry Steele, Weston Stewart, and Chris Pageant, who is our past president, is not with us tonight. If you've missed any of the videos from our little tips here that are listed, those will be on the web page of our website. And also it was shared on Facebook, as well as tonight's presentation will appear both places. We want to thank you for your support in 2024, and we hope you will remain with us in 2025 as a member of our society. Since we are all volunteers and this organization relies on you, we appreciate your support. As of today, we have members in almost all 50 states in the DC area, also in countries Canada, Australia, Germany, New Zealand, and we even have a few members in the armed forces overseas. Our membership, as you will see from this chart, that it has remained constant through 2024 compared to 2023, as well as our donations. And speaking of donations, if you're looking for organizations to donate to before the end of 2024, we would love for you to consider donating to the society. And to do so, if you go to our website under About Us, Support Our Missions, Donations, it will walk you through how to make a donation. Weston?
Hello, my name is Weston Stewart, and I work on the communications part for society, and I'm the e-newsletter editor. So every month, I work on sending all the information that we have in the societies, upcoming webinars, special events, and any activity and service that can catch your eye. I try to send it out to you. Also, I like to send reminders once a month for anything that's coming up. So I know that we have busy lives and things may come up. So the little reminder, I know sometimes it comes into your box like again, but not. We were just trying to give you some information about what's going on each month and each week. So even if you forget, it's there for you to remember. And I also like to send out emails. I've sent emails in the past for county clerks and other special projects, and as well as the digitization grant program. So we try to send out on a regular basis to keep you informed. And I'm also helping Chris out. Chris is out of the conference at the moment, but um, one of the biggest things is social media. He updates it like pretty much every day. He does a really good job. We are also following all the Kentucky libraries, archives, and historical societies and sharing information. And sometimes some of this information that, a society may have, we also show up in our e-newsletter also. We like to keep you informed. And one really good information to tell you is that we're actually third in all the social media societies. We're behind American Ancestors and National Genealogical Society. And we're also first in all the state websites, falling behind, actually falling right ahead of New York. So really good information, really good community involvement, and we love to see you on the Facebook as well as our email. So look forward to seeing you.
So, what does your membership offer you? The Society's mission is to facilitate genealogy education, make Kentucky genealogy records accessible, and connect researchers. We try to accomplish this mission through a number of projects and programs. Chris Pageant is our blog editor. The blog is emailed monthly to members and then retained on the website. Here are a few of the recent articles in the Bluegrass Roots, as well as an introduction to some of our member volunteers. Again, if you would like to write an article for our Bluegrass Roots, you can go to the website and go under About Us, and there is a place there where you can submit an article. One of the programs available for members are the Front Porch Talks, which were launched in 2022. Currently, we have 3 groups that meet once a month on a designated day and time. The goal of the groups is to give members an opportunity to connect with each other and to share research, help each other in the genealogy area. Front Porch Talks have a valuable administrative assistant, Rebecca Page, and Rebecca is there to coordinate with the co-leaders regarding any changes in meeting dates, email reminders prior to each of the meeting, and if there's additional information that needs to be sent out to the participants, she does that as well. She handles all the technical part of the meeting. One of our board members, or really 2 of our board members, are co-leaders, and Jerry Steele is one of them.
Hi, I'm Jerry, and I help co-lead the All Things DNA Front Porch Talk. And Front Porch Talks are slightly different than some of the other organizations that you may be in that is a special interest group. We're a little more informal. We don't always have a presentation every week, although we may present some material. And we use it as a discussion group. So bring your problems, your solutions, and all of your wonderful things that have happened to you in the previous month and come discuss with us all things DNA on the third Thursday. Thank you.
Each Front Porch Talks group has their own chat room, which is available to the participants in those groups as well. And a chat room is a good place to communicate with other members. And if you're a member of the organization, then you you have access to these chat rooms. And you get to them by once you've signed on to the member portal at the top. If you see at the bottom there that it's circled, it says chat rooms, and you can go in there, and there's all kinds of information. And recently, one of the members mentioned that they wanted to know what was a good history book on Kentucky. And so if you go over there under the tips and tricks, you will see links to go to the Kentucky history books that are out there. And you may have a link that you know of that where there's a good Kentucky history book. We encourage you to go out there and also add that. You can comment on it and you can add your link.
All right. So, one of the things that we're going to be doing next year is a book club. So, the genesis of this idea was that we had a wonderful webinar with Nathan Dillon Goodwin a few months back. And unbeknownst to the people who were watching, all the organizers were sort of doing the chat thing behind the scenes, going, wow, this would be a great book club book. And we all got really excited about it, and we decided to turn it into a reality. So, we're going to have a book club that sort of does a compare contrast with um, um, the Nathan Dillon Goodwin's novel, The Chester Creek Murders, which is the first in the Venator series, for those of you who know his books. And actually, I didn't know his books when he came on and did the webinar, but I've been reading them sort of obsessively ever since. So if you have not had a chance to read his books yet, I think you will really enjoy sort of digging into them. So the first one is going to be the Chester Creek Murders, Nathan Dilla Goodwin, and then we're going to compare, contrast that with actually sort of a real life memoir of using genetic genealogical techniques. This is Barbara Ray Ventnor's memoir, I Know Who You Are, which basically describes her work in tracking down the Golden State Killer. And I have to say, I approached that book with a little bit of trepidation because I knew how horrible that murder was. All of his murders were. And I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be really gruesome. So if you're worried about that, it's actually not. It's really much more about the genetic genealogy. So it's a really fascinating read. I think it's going to be really like lots of fun to talk about these two books and talk about these two books in contrast. To be clear, we're going to be talking about them as books. I'm not an expert in genetic genealogy or in DNA analysis, but I hope that some of you who decide to join the book club will be and can bring that perspective. But I'm hoping that we'll see a bunch of you at the end of January and at the end of February. There's going to be 2 meetings, 1 month apart. We'll talk about one book in the first month and then focus on the other book in the second month. We'll be sending out an email with some details about that shortly.
Susan, you're muted.
I haven't done this before. But last year we published 2 books. The Kentucky and Its Kin, an essential guide to Kentucky family research. It's been very, very good for the society. This year alone, we've made over $3,000. We've made, you see, $3,182.73 off of these books. And while I'm talking about it, I'll put in a little plug. I have both of them. They're both very interesting and very useful. So if you have not bought these books, they are available on Amazon.
Hi, I'm Terry Smith, and Chris, our past president, had come to me one time and asked me if I would help start a lineage program. And it was a great idea, and some of the members wanted to start it. And myself, along with Doug Tattershall, well, him and I got together and we tried to, for months, we studied different organizations and we wanted to come up with the society that would be the area, people that lived in that area that became known as Kentucky. It was a great program, and then Diane started it, took over after I did, and I will let her talk now. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Terry. Yeah, so we've developed a application and some guidelines, and we're going to be testing it early this year and hopefully be able to launch it. The lineage program, I think, will provide us with yet another opportunity to connect through some of the shared heritage that we might have as members. And I'm hoping will eventually lead to maybe more front talk porches or some other ways that we can connect once we launch the program.
Okay.
And so we've developed a beautiful certificate for those who qualify once we launch the program. And this is a sneak peek at it. Hopefully, y'all will submit your applications and receive this beautiful certificate.
Thank you, Diane. And let me add that the certificate was created by graphic designer April Torbush, and she did that free of charge for the society.
Thanks, Kathy.
Good.
Very appreciative of that. The Society was represented at a number of conferences across the Commonwealth in 2024. We were in Elizabethtown, Erlanger, Lexington, Danville, Trigg County, Louisville, and then virtually we had booths for the National Genealogical Society Conference and Tennessee Genealogical Society. This is just a few pictures that we took, and we enjoy it when you stop by at our table and you introduce yourself to us and tell us that you're a member and that we get to discuss a little bit of Kentucky history with you.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm going to take over from here. Notice, I'd just like to point out how Kathy and Chris, for example, and Kathy and her husband on the lower right-hand corner, they dressed appropriately in gold and green. I didn't pick up on that at first. So there is definitely a color theme here. So let me now turn to the webinars that we held in 2024. And for that purpose, I'm going to ask Melissa to talk about the webinars.
Thank you, Susan. I think we had a fantastic year, 2024, with our webinars. Right here, you can see a list of the many, many speakers that we had. We had some fantastic genealogical content. And we also had those that visited us from archives to tell us about what kind of records are in their archives. And we just seriously had so much genealogical information. And these are recorded, I believe, and on our website. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? And so you can go, if you're a member, you can go and you can see these and watch them over and over again. They are a true treasure trove and something that I know that the Kentucky Genealogical Society loves to offer to its members. Also in 2024, we had themes. We had some fantastic themes this year. And if you look at the list of themes here, we actually tried to correlate a particular month. It was a particular like Black History Month, Women's History Month, things like that. And we tried to have webinars that dealt with those particular themes. And we found that it was very successful with those who came to our webinars. And I think it was great for us to share this information. And our speakers actually loved being able to put together their webinars with a theme. And so if you have not watched those webinars, I would encourage you to go back and watch them and then be ready for 2025.
I'd like to point out this is our production crew. Now, my picture is there, but I was just a standby. But the production crew was really Kathy, Melissa, and Elizabeth, and they did a fantastic job. And I just have to give a shout out to all of them. And Kathy was there for every single one of the webinars because she handles everything behind the scenes. And I just want to say thank you to this production crew. Now we'd like to turn to efforts to digitize genealogically significant Kentucky records, which is one of our main missions as a society. And to start with, I just would like to mention that we do have two efforts, and the first effort is the digitization, say that 10 times fast, grant program. With one exception, every record set digitized through the Society's grant program, which was established in 2019, will ultimately be available to the public. So in other words, they'll be in front of the paywall. To discuss our current grant program this year and also the next year, I'd like to turn this over to Lynn Grove.
Okay, thank you. I was the grant chair for 2024 and had a wonderful committee of people on the grant committee this year. Kathy McLeod, Jeff Lutz, Cheryl Smith, Marilyn Isaacs, and Barbara Cart. And I really want to express my appreciation to them for the job we did going through, first of all, trying to encourage and get people to apply for grants. And that would be public libraries and historical societies in Kentucky. And we also had to help the 2024 grantees complete their task of digitizing their records. One, South Central Kentucky Cultural Center has completed their project and submitted their records, which are now available on our website. In Historic Russellville, who has the Sikh Museum in Russellville, is just about complete, almost finished with theirs, and will be submitting their records very soon. As also Woodford County Library will be sending in their project soon, and everybody will be able to see all of those records.
Excellent. I think at this point we really should have a little bit of a drum roll for the next slide. So kind of picture a drum roll. I should have done that. So here we go. Lynn.
Okay. This is about the 2025 program. We are now announcing for the first time anywhere the grantees for 2025, and they are Marion County Historical Society, Marion County Public Library, Lewis County Historical Society, and the Loretto Heritage Center. And you can see on the slide a brief description of the records that they will be digitizing with the grants from Kentucky Genealogical Society.
So this is just a little overview of the grantees, the new ones and the prior ones.
Yeah, I think it's important to notice that it's really covering quite a bit of the state. And, we're hoping to cover even more counties in the future as we go along and giving these grants, because we know that there's data and records in every one of these counties that needs to be digitized, because it doesn't exist anywhere else, so you can't get the information unless you go there, or because it's in danger of disintegrating. It's in bad condition and really needs to be digitized just to preserve it for the future.
The Society's other digitization effort is its collaboration with Family Search to digitize Kentucky's primary records, such as birth, death, marriage, probate, wills, deeds, tax, and voter records created by county clerks. We entered into this collaboration in March of 2022, so almost 3 years ago. The initial path involved the society volunteers contacting county clerks to advise them that Family Search would digitize their records free of charge on site and give them a copy of the digitized records. Besides distributing information, some of these volunteers also served as boots on the ground in the sense that they helped coordinate the discussions between the county clerks and Family Search regarding the scope, nature, and details of the records to be digitized. By the end of last year, we had agreements either signed or about to be signed, and they were ultimately signed in 2024 by 5 county clerks: Boone, Campbell, Jefferson, Kenton, and Rockcastle. Rockcastle's records have now been digitized by Family Search on site in the county. The second path, that was the first path that the collaboration took. The second path that the collaboration took, and the first path is still out there. I mean, we haven't abandoned that, so that is still being pursued. But the second path took place or started earlier this year when on June 26, Family Search and the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives signed an agreement for Family Search to digitize the county clerk records being maintained by the KDLA in Frankfort. That's a picture of the KDLA, if that's not obvious. Right now, while these records are in the public domain, they must be researched in person because they're on microfilm. Tens of thousands of reels of microfilm in Frankfort. Copies of specific records may also be purchased from the KDLA. So Family Search agreed to give the respective clerks and the KDLA a copy of the digitized records, which they would also post on their website free of charge. The Society has been involved in this project in several ways. Neither Family Search nor the KDLA had the staff to reach out to all of the county clerks, the official custodians of the records, whose permission was necessary before the records could be digitized. Now, we helped in that regard, and actually Weston alluded to this earlier as well, by sending emails to all the clerks, the libraries, and the local gen and family and historical societies. We also prepared individual record release forms for 115 counties, and we emailed or delivered these forms in person to every clerk in the state. In all, 112 society volunteers have been involved in this project, and I want to give a thank you to all of them. They did incredible work in July and August of this year. To date, 9 county clerks have signed their agreements. So, what lies ahead in 2025? So this is an overview of our programming. We plan to schedule 2 types of virtual programs monthly in next year. First, each month we'll have a traditional genealogy speaker or webinar. Okay. Second, each month we will have one of 2 types of panel workshops. One featuring people with specialized genealogical knowledge or skills, and then one with representatives from genealogical organizations or institutions in 5 Kentucky regions. This is an overview of the speakers we have engaged so far. Now, several of them are repeats from last year, like Brian Reinhardt and Sonny Morton, Mark Lowe, but we have new ones as well who've never spoken to our society before. Kurt Witcher, who is with the Allen County Public Library, and as we all know, that is a phenomenal repository of genealogical records. And I'm also pleased to say that Kopana Terry, who is UK's, University of Kentucky, that is, we're not talking about the United Kingdom, UK chief librarian for newspapers. And Kopana has done some phenomenal things for Kentucky genealogists in the area of newspapers. So the panel workshops, as I said, are 2 types. There's the topical panels, which I've listed here. I would like to point out the one about learning more about society resources. So tonight we've just sort of scratched the surface of what the society offers for its members and what we've accomplished in this past year. But we really didn't go into a lot of depth as to how to become part of the chat rooms or the front porch talks. And so we're going to have a special program just to really get in kind of a deep dive into these resources so that you can learn how to avail yourself of their benefits. Now, the regional panels. This is going to be something new. These are panels of representatives from archives, libraries, genealogical and historical societies, museums, and county officials in 5 Kentucky regions. Now, these regions are the ones that the KDLA uses for its purposes. And what this set of workshops reflect is that Kentuckians' heritage is both uniform and diverse. While we readily identify as Kentuckians outside the state, and when somebody asks me where I'm from, I say Kentucky, even though I've lived in Virginia for 44 years. I never say Virginia. Let's just keep that among ourselves, please. Anyway, we also have very strong connections with certain areas within the state. So more to the point, genealogical resources and services vary from region to region, and relevant repositories focus on preserving and providing access to records created in their own and their surrounding counties, as well as educating and assisting people in search of their Kentucky roots in those areas. So our first regional panel will be representing the Northeast, as identified on this map, and that will take place in March. So watch out for the date, or look out. I should not watch out, but look out for the date for that panel. We're also going to be involved in, as Kathy described what we did this past year, we're also going to be involved in genealogy conferences, mainly by involvement. I mean, we will be staffing a booth at these 6 genealogy conferences. Very exciting for Kathy and me. We are actually going to attend Roots Tech in Salt Lake City in March. And we will be staffing a booth there, obviously in person. We will also have a virtual booth. And we are very excited about going to Salt Lake. And hopefully we'll have some time to go to the library there, which is right around the corner from the venue for the conference. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get to the library. Now, if any of you know of other conferences or meetings in which we could participate, please let us know. Or if you all would like, any of you would like to stop and kind of help staff one of these booths, please let us know that too, because we would love to have your company. Kathy and I met in person the first time last year at the Kentucky Genealogy and History Conference. At the time was held in Harrisburg, and we had the best time. We had a really good time. But now I know we're going to have to decide who's going to wear gold and who's going to wear green. But we'll discuss that at a later time. So one last thing about the programs. So our first one is scheduled for January 13th. And with Sunny Morton, who was one of our speakers this year. She is a really well-known genealogist and a very good speaker. And Kathy has already put the information on our website as far as registering for Sunny's presentation. So Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Susan. So with that, we want to thank you for spending your time with us tonight. And if there are any questions, let me again tell you that if you go up into the top right-hand corner where the little paper with the paper clip is, if you click on that, you can type in a question there, and we will be happy to try to answer it. And Elizabeth, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, well, we've got one comment already in the questions. This is from Marcy. It says, no question, but she just wants to let us know that she found both Kentucky Resources books very helpful. And this is from her husband, whose family is all from Eastern Kentucky, but never lived there himself.
That's a great point.
Yep. I would share that. I am also, my family's from there, and I've only visited Kentucky twice, and it is super, those books are super helpful. Yes, okay. And then another question here, which is, what are the concerns of the county clerks or the counties who have not signed? This is for the digitization.
Right. The county clerks, I can't address that definitively because all I know is sort of rumors that I hear. And the one clerk, for example, was disinclined to sign his record release form because he was concerned that he would lose revenue from copying deeds for people. Now, to address that concern, both KDLA and Family Search pointed out that no deed after 1930 was going to be digitized. Family Search is not interested in relatively new deeds. They're only interested in old deeds. So that was one concern. I think it's the loss of revenue that the county clerks have expressed as much as anything. Then there was also some concern about, now remember, all of these records are already in the public domain. So these records are public. But there was some concern that some of the records might include information, might include Social Security numbers. Well, again, we're talking about old records before the enactment of the Social Security Act. But if indeed there were any records that might have DD, it's the DD 417 records, which are veteran records. That's for some reason. Well, I know why. These are federal records, but county clerks actually will maintain them for veterans who live in their counties, and they do include Social Security numbers. But again, the Family Search wasn't interested in those and had no intention of digitizing those. So where these concerns have been raised, and those were the two main ones, we have tried to allay their concerns. Now, the project has been, even though a couple county clerks just recently did sign their forms, what we tried to do, well, one of the things that we faced was the fact that there was this federal election, that you might have all noticed that there was this federal election recently, and the county clerks were absolutely beside themselves. I mean, they were overwhelmed with the preparation for those, both the presidential, vice presidential, and all the congressional races. So we kind of just stepped back. The volunteers on the ground just sort of stepped back and just did not want to bother the county clerks. Now, one last thing in this regard, the KDLA and Family Search have been trying to get a meeting with or allow the representative from Family Search to go actually speak to the clerks. So hopefully in the beginning of the year, the clerks meet every month. I think they meet every third Thursday, and then they have a couple conferences every year that are kind of big conferences. They're longer. It's not just a one-day affair. And so at one of those conferences, we're hoping that the representative from Family Search, whose name is Steve Waters, will be able to come and answer any more questions that they might have. But if it's a revenue issue, there's really nothing we can do about that. If they're concerned that they're going to lose revenue, I mean, that's that, you know. But the sad thing about it is that this, we are in the dark ages when it comes to other states. Other states have embraced Family Search. They have said, "Come on down, digitize our records, give them to us for free," and we are way behind on the digitization of the records in our archives. So fingers crossed, and hopefully 2025 will be a good year for us, and we'll get some of these records digitized. And the digitization, by the way, will be done by scanning. Family Search will bring in a scanner because that's how microfilm is digitized. It's by scanner, whereas the records that were digitized in Rockcastle County, I think that's Mount Vernon, I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. The records that were digitized in Mount Vernon were photographed. So the paper records are photographed and the microfilm, microfiche records are scanned. I know, you asked me the time and I built you a clock. Thank you.
That's actually really helpful context because it is a little perplexing as to why they're not embracing it. So this is helpful to know. We have a question from Kate, which is really, I think we should, it's a nice compliment, actually. I'm curious if you are an all volunteer organization, the amount of offerings you have is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Heart.
We are an all volunteer organization.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else. Okay, so we got another question that's popped up here. Okay, this is back to the digitization again. Is there a website we can go to that will tell us which county clerks have or have not signed the releases?
Well, Chris is extremely good. Chris Paget is very good about posting the information. And so if you go to our Facebook page, it's all there. And not only does he post which clerks have signed their agreements, he also will point out, of course, their names, the county clerks' names, because we want to give a shout out to the county clerks, but also the volunteers in that county who have helped us. And I really like the way he does it. So he does give a kind of a shout out to the people in the counties who have been instrumental in getting this information to the clerks, getting their forms to them, and in some instances actually submitting it for them. So yes. So right now the answer is our Facebook page. And I think at a certain point we will, have a special place on our website. We had not gotten quite to that critical mass yet for that, but I think after the first of the year, we'll have a special place on our website to post all of the county clerks and the boots on the ground helpers who have been involved in this project.
So that's the end of the questions that I see here. So just last call for questions before we wrap up. If anybody has one that they want to type in.
And
I'll
while
give it a
we'll give them a minute or so, and while we do, is anyone on the board have any other comments they would like to make?
They're usually
Okay,
not
thank you,
this
Elizabeth.
shy.
Well, with that, I want to thank you all for spending your evening with us. I also want to remind you, Susan, where she pointed out that Sunny Morton will be with us on Monday, January the 13th. And I hope that you will go over on the website and you will register for that. And Elizabeth, did we just have one come in?
We had just a thank you come in. A
Okay,
very kind thank you.
thank you. So, and with that, let me, as well as I know the board would like to wish everyone Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays during this season. I hope you spend time with your family, and while you do, talk about your family history. You never know when that one little clue will open up a whole new research area for you. So, with that, we will say good night to you. Good night.